Okay, so what if heaven had a stock market? And what if your soul was the only currency that mattered? We're about to dive into a pretty complex sci fi world that's built on that exact idea. It's a story about a detective investigating a murder that could bring down not just a killer, but maybe even God himself.
So, I want you to imagine a world where every single prayer is a transaction, every moment of devotion literally deposited into a bank account. You see, on the space station Seraphim 9, spiritual worth isn't some kind of metaphor. No, it's the entire economy. Welcome to Seraphim 9. It's this massive space station, kind of teetering on the edge of a black hole. And it's sold as this perfect meritocracy of the soul. It's a society that's been engineered for one single purpose: for every citizen to climb the ladder to get closer to God.
And the currency of this whole economy? They're called prayer credits. Every single act of faith, from a silent prayer to some grand sacrifice, it's all monitored by these bio-readers and converted into cold, hard, spiritual cash. The more credits you earn, the higher up you get to move on the station, inching closer and closer to this divine glow at the very top. In this world, your bank account is your soul.
So this whole system creates this really rigid, nine-tiered caste system. You're born into the struggling masses way down at the bottom, and you spend your entire life just grinding for credits, hoping to ascend through the ranks of the devoted, the clergy, the bureaucrats, and so on. And the ultimate prize? Reaching Tier 9, the Seraphim level, where you're promised you can finally commune directly with God.
But of course, a crack is about to appear in this perfect facade. A single, impossible event is about to shatter 3 centuries of what everyone thought was unshakable faith. And the victim isn't just anyone. It's Saint Avra Mourne, the only living saint on the entire station, and she's found dead in her locked chambers on the impenetrable 9th tier. So when our detective, Kader, arrives, he's not just looking at a body, he's looking at an absolute impossibility. See, murder is a storm that rages in the lower tiers, sure. But up here, at the serene summit, the weather is always supposed to be perfect.
And this is where it gets really weird. Kadar's first clue, it just defies all logic. The saint's prayer credit account didn't stop when she died. No, it's still ticking up, accumulating spiritual wealth from beyond the grave. And that's a feat the system itself says is impossible. I mean, death is supposed to zero out your account. Full stop. No exceptions. And it's not just accumulating credits. The rate is accelerating. Her spiritual net worth is skyrocketing after her death. This isn't just a glitch in the system. This is a data point that suggests the system itself, the very foundation of their reality, is fundamentally broken.
So, the key to this whole impossible crime turns out to be hidden in the saint's secret writings, which Kader uncovers on her personal tablet. And this is the exact moment the investigation pivots from a simple whodunit to a profound theological crisis.
The saint left behind this cryptic message: the hearth is beautiful, the hearth is real, the fire is somewhere else. She had realized that the divine glow at the top wasn't the fire of God's presence at all, but it was merely the lingering warmth of a hearth where a fire used to be. The real flame, she wrote, was burning somewhere else entirely.
And this is her heretical discovery. The residue, that's the comfortable, rewarded glow at the top, and it's nothing more than beautiful evidence of God's absence. The true fire, she says, is the raw, desperate, unmeasured faith of the masses at the bottom. The entire system, she realized, was designed to reward people for getting close to an echo while completely ignoring the roar of the actual flame.
As Kader digs deeper, this really clear, really sinister timeline of suppression starts to emerge. Okay, so the saint writes her findings. A deacon reads them. Just 2 days later, that deacon is completed, which is a fast-tracked, state-sanctioned death ritual by the station's leadership. And then, the saint herself is found dead. It's a clear pattern of silencing anyone who gets close to this truth. And all of this leads Kader to a terrifying, completely revolutionary conclusion. The entire spiritual framework of their society, it's not just flawed, it's inverted. The ladder to God that they've all been desperately climbing their whole lives, it's actually been leading them away from Him. The real spiritual fire was never at the top with the elite. It was always burning at the bottom with the masses. The entire society has been climbing in the wrong direction for 300 years.
The horrifying truth here is that the entire economy of heaven is built on a foundational lie. It is a system that is perfectly engineered to move people away from the very thing it promises to deliver.
And if there was any doubt, this gets confirmed by a high-level insider who confesses everything to Kader. The leadership has known for almost 90 years that the top is spiritually void. They are not closer to God, they're just richer, living in a beautiful, warm room saturated with the memory of a presence that is long, long gone. So what happens when a truth this big is finally set free? Well, it doesn't come from the top down. No, it sparks from the bottom up. With his badge suspended and the official investigation taken away from him, Kader makes a choice. He leaks everything. The Saints document, the insider's proof, the whole shebang, to an underground network of believers in the lowest tiers. The truth starts to spread, not through official channels, but through whispers in maintenance corridors and crowded mess halls. And this whole thing sets up the story's explosive final question. For centuries, the people at the bottom have been told they are the furthest from God. So what happens to a society when it discovers the place it was so desperately trying to escape was the most sacred place of all? What happens when the lowest of the low realize they have been home all along?